Hi, welcome to my video presentation for Inusharts 2021. My name is Afilia Hanjani. I'm an undergraduate student from Department of French and Literary Studies, University of Indonesia. I will present my research entitled The Xenophobic Phenomenon in French during the governments of President François Hollande and Emmanuel Macron with my corresponding author, Ms. Airin Miranda. I hope that through this research we can evaluate immigration policy in France and its influence on xenophobic act in France and become a reflection of the importance of the integration process of immigrants to avoid xenophobic practices. So this research will discuss how the policies of the government of the regulation of President Hollande and Macron can affect the level of xenophobia of French society towards immigrants. By using qualitative methods and literature study technique, the study described the policies of François Hollande and Emmanuel Macron with the social conditions and the political wing of the two presidents who are different with the ideologies of the two governments and attitudes towards the xenophobic phenomenon, and by using the concept of racism from Oliver Cox and the stereotype concept of Larry Semover and Richard Porter. The phenomenon of xenophobia has become a complicated problem both in the social life of a country and in the international sphere, especially in the increasing actions and protests against anti-immigrants in Europe. Xenophobia is a feeling experienced by a person due to feelings of fear, competition, or hatred towards strangers from outside the group of origin. Local people view immigrants as a group that is detrimental to the state, extremist, and uneducated. The administration between Hollande and Macron has authorized several the policy to provide regulation and legal compliance to immigration policy is intended to provide justice both for state security and also to provide justice between communities and immigrants. During the Macron government, immigration policies were made more stringent than before made by Hollande, but policies still aim at justice for the lives of immigrants seeking asylum. In 2014, a survey conducted by Ipsos stated that French people do not want to live near immigrants. Out of 66% of the population polled said that there were too many foreigners and high unemployment rates, while 59% stated that they felt that immigrants did not integrate with local society. Figures from the survey conducted by Ipsos increased 4% from the previous year, 2013. In addition, as many as 63% of the community said that the culture under which many immigrants were Muslim was difficult to fuse with French culture. Local people are afraid that immigrants will steal job opportunities because many of them are without jobs. Local people feel immigrants can be detrimental because society has to pay taxes for foreigners. 2015 was a very problematic year for Europe because of the high tide of immigration, starting with the continued increase in immigrants from Africa and the Arab Spring incident which made Europe under the European Union to reform policies on immigrant flows. This year is the year with the largest immigration flows that spread to several parts of Europe and then caused an asylum and economic crisis. France is a country with a fairly complex domestic immigrants. The xenophobic sentiment in society has also increased with attacks that occurred before the social crisis that became a matter of concern for the community. In 2015, there was a shooting at the office of Charlie Hebdo magazine. The two French Muslim brothers, Said and Cherif Kouachi, forced their way into the office of the French satirical weekly newspaper Charlie Hebdo, armed with rifles and other weapons. They killed 12 people and injured 11 others. And the Paris attack tragedy in November 2015 killed 130 people and injured 413 others. And 7 of the attackers were also killed. France had been on high alert since the January 2015 attacks on Charlie Hebdo office and a Jewish supermarket in Paris that killed 17 people. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, or ISIL, claimed responsibility for the attacks, saying that it was retaliation for the French airstrikes on Islamic State targets in Syria and Iraq. The President of France, François Hollande, said the attacks were an act of war by Islamic State. The attacks were planned in Syria and organized by a terrorist cell based in Belgium. According to the French Ministry of the Interior, anti-Muslim and anti-Semitic protests increased by 22.4% in 2015. In 2014, there were 1,662 actions, and in 2015, there were 1,304 actions, which is the highest number of the data above. In 2015 was the toughest year for Muslims, especially in 2014 after the Charlie Hebdo and the Paris attack. Not only generalizing Muslims as terrorists, society also blames the government and also the government of Arab countries as the cause of the events that befell many French people. Hollande established several policies that prioritize specific points to address issues of discrimination, radical movements, and racism. Having grown weary of dealing with Hollande's limited intention on French economic reforms in his candidacy for President of France in 2017, Macron with his campaign, according to the public, is a good step for dealing with the problem of xenophobia. Since the campaign, Macron has shown his support for cultural diversity in France. Macron even said he wanted to help minority communities, especially Muslims, as France's largest minority. Hollande and Macron are very open to immigrants. Both just don't want immigrants with economic goals to come in and take advantage of state services lazily, so they are better off being deported. The difference is that Macron has accelerated the deportation period to 19 days. Both pledged to combat all forms of discrimination in the housing and employment sectors. The 2017 Censedeha report states that there has been a decline in some xenophobic problems in French society. The police revealed that data on acts of racism and violence against immigrants in 2016 decreased by 44.7%, namely only 1,125 cases compared to 2015. However, although the data show a decrease in the level of verbal and physical violence, society's negative sentiments or xenophobic attitudes remain not completely gone. This happens because people have their own principles and perspectives towards foreign groups of immigrants who are different from them, especially immigrants who are considered a minority and are only foreigners who come to live in France. The factors that determine the creation of xenophobic attitudes such as ethnic stereotypes, religious discriminations, racism, and the added trauma factor of terrorism committed by citizens of foreign descent make it difficult for negative sentiments from French society to escape. It means xenophobia will still exist even though the government has implemented such policies. So the government needs to take a new approach that is more communal so that immigrants can more easily enter into French society and French people can be more accepting and use a positive perspective on the presence of foreigners. With that concluding the presentation for today, I hope my research will help evaluate immigration policy in French by now. So thank you very much and have a good day.